Adesina, Koiki down here in the victorious Indiana Fever locker room. Indiana winning a Game 3 on the road again to make it to the WNBA Finals, 66-51 over the #1 seed in the Eastern Conference, the New York Liberty. Pleased to be joined right now by the head coach of the Indiana Fever, Stephanie White. First of all, Coach, congratulations. Sinatra sang that if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. You made it here, won in Game 3. You're off to the WNBA Finals. How does it feel to be in the WNBA Finals as a head coach?
It feels great. I just give so much credit to our team for being able to persevere through ups and downs, through lots of adversity this season, to be able to persevere through the ups and downs of a single game. We have a very selfless team that plays hard for one another. And when you're playing for something that's bigger than yourself, it certainly makes it rewarding when you have an opportunity now to play for a championship.
Obviously, or at least we would think obviously, this is the biggest up. What was the biggest down during this season for your team?
Well, I think early when we were dealing with a multitude of injuries, players in and out, we had, Breon January was out, Shavonte Zealous was out, and Erlena Larkins was out, Tamika Catchings was out. Really trying to figure out who we're going to be and how we're going to get there when we have so many injuries. We hit a little bit of a down spell after our West Coast trip as well, but those are all character builders. It gave our bench an opportunity to contribute and an opportunity to understand what it takes, and so our bench was ready and won its games. And so we hit a little dry spell too after the West Coast trip, and we really found ourselves in terms of our character and our toughness and being able to bounce back from that and put ourselves in this position.
You mentioned in an earlier conversation that we had that as opposed to other Indiana Fever teams in the past, you wanted this team to be more of an up-tempo team. This game didn't necessarily take that feel. Was that important in the sense of taking the Liberty and its crowd out of the game, though?
Well, I think a couple things. I think, first of all, New York forces you to play a little bit more in the half court because they dictate defensively. They're very good defensively. I felt like the run that we made in the second quarter was more how we wanted to play. We finally got some open court scores. We finally got some early transition screening, drag screens, step-up screens. Now, we didn't sustain it because of New York's pressure. But it absolutely was. We had to, if we didn't have it early, bring it back, try to keep the crowd out of it, maintain poise and composure on the offensive end, and really force New York to guard for an entire 24 seconds.
Not too many coaches mention actually taking the crowd out of games, but this New York Liberty crowd, your crowd is great at Bankers Life Fieldhouse, but this New York Liberty crowd is just tremendous. Did you mention that, the actual crowd, in terms of trying to take it out? Because it seemed as if the Liberty were fairly flat, and you had a big part in that. It seemed like the Liberty were flat in this game.
We didn't really mention it. I talked to Breon January, our point guard, a little bit about, look, when they make a run and the crowd starts to get into it, we got to gear down. We have to be disciplined. We have to out-execute. We have to get a score at that moment to stop that run. We have to get a stop at that moment to stop that run. That's the only way that we can keep the crowd out of it. It can't be an 8-0, a 10-0 run. It has to be a 4-0, a 5-0, 6-0 run, and then we have to be able to respond.
Before the Liberty went on their run in the second half, you had an 11-point lead at halftime. In game 2 at halftime, you pretty much challenged the intestinal fortitude of each and every player. What was the message tonight, having an 11-point lead 20 minutes away from the WNBA Finals? The
message was that New York is a team that's got great pride, that they're going to come out and they're going to try to throw the first punch, and we have to be ready. We have to know that it's a game of runs, but we are in no way, shape, or form have we won this ball game. We have to maintain our control on the offensive and defensive end of the floor. We have to know that they're going to make a run, and we have to be okay with that and sustain that and stop it and shorten it. And so the message was, don't be content. We have to come out and we have to do the things that put us in the position to have a lead at halftime. We have to continue to be aggressive. We have to continue to be great defensively, and we have to rebound the basketball.
What was the best part of your execution late in the game when the Liberty had cut it down to 49-45, if there was a best part in being able to build that lead back up?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there was a best part. I think the fact that we continue to move the ball. One of the stats that I love to look at is our assists to made field goals, and we had 20 assists on 26 made field goals. So when they did make that run, we didn't become selfish, and I don't mean selfish in a bad way, but we didn't all try to do it on our own. We shared the basketball. We tried to do it together, and we got great shots instead of getting good shots.
Erlena Larkins had 4 of those assists and had a great all-around game, and of course on defense with Tina Charles 6 of 16 shooting. How important was her play, and did you get to talk with her in terms of what she really needed to do to be able to hold the fort inside?
Absolutely. She's critical to our success. There's no coincidence that when we got her in 2012, then that's when we won the championship. Her ability to rebound, her ability to defend, her energy level. She's been injured all season season long. You know, she's just fighting through in the playoffs. She really hasn't played a lot throughout the season, and now she's fighting through. She's put us in a position again to be successful because of her toughness, because of her will, and she's added her ability to score.
It takes a lot for any team in any major sport to win a deciding game 3 on the road, or a deciding game 3, game 5, game 7 on the road. Yeah. You've done that twice in the same playoff year. You know what it takes. What does it take for any team to do that, go on the road and win a deciding game?
Well, it takes poise, it takes composure, it takes toughness. You know, you have to be physically tough, you have to be mentally tough. You have to understand the ebb and flow of the game. You have to understand that there are going to be runs. And really on the road, it comes down to details. It comes down to execution. You know, you have to be able to out-execute a team. You have to be able to minimize the effect that the crowd has in terms of their emotion and making their runs.
Did you have any words with Tamika Catchings after the buzzer sounded?
Just to tell her that I'm so proud of her. And you know, she's willed our team to do things that a lot of people haven't thought our teams could do. And, you know, I'm incredibly proud of her and that I love her.
So if there's a game 5 in Minnesota on the road, deciding game, you have Minnesota right where you want them, right?
Absolutely. What are you talking about? Yes, back against the wall. We got it.
Stephanie White, thank you so very much for joining us. Congratulations on your team making the WNBA Finals.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.